Hey guys, so during the press junkets for Justice League recently, in an interview with Empire magazine, Ben Affleck directly addressed the criticisms of Batman v Superman. He said that he understood the backlash and he understands why some of it actually happened the way it did. He says, quote, "I can understand people saying Batman v Superman was too dark, or this was outside of the tone of what I'm used to seeing with a Batman story, and I think that's a fair criticism." He also made sure to differentiate that what's coming with Justice League from what happened with BVS is a lot different. He goes on to continue saying, "Zack wanted to make a movie that was more fun, that was a little bit light, that wasn't so encumbered with heavy melodrama." Gal Gadot had this to say backing up his response. "Justice League is not a dark or heavy movie. It doesn't have the weight that Batman v Superman had." Now this all kind of goes in line with what Ezra Miller and Affleck had also said previously, I think, in regards to the progression of tones within the DCEU. Now going back to Batman v Superman for a moment, it's nice to see that Affleck does recognize that people actually had legitimate problems with the movie in terms of it being too dark, too heavy, kind of outside of what people expected of the characters, because that was one of my chief complaints, is that the movie just felt so strange in terms of like the actual story that was being told and then the kind of actions and the feelings that the characters had towards one another and just the characters in general, because I honestly felt that Superman was just way too much of a dark character in the movie. I get that he had a lot going on and he had to deal with kind of the public not really liking him helping out here and there, but all in all I think that they needed to make a better effort to differentiate the difference between Batman and Superman, and that was one of my chief complaints. Now personally I don't really like BVS too much, but I can understand why a lot of people do like it, and it's nice to see that going forward they're trying to rectify some of the mistakes that were made creatively and in terms of the tone mostly with the DCEU going forward, because again we saw how big of a success Wonder Woman was earlier this summer, and that kind of had not so much of a dour tone to it. It did have serious heavy moments, but it also had an element of fun and levity to it as well. So hopefully they can see where they went wrong with the earlier DCEU movies and kind of course correct that going forward. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Batman v Superman was too heavy, too dark, outside of what we come to expect from the characters or the tone that the characters should be put into? And are you happy that they're going for a lighter tone with the movies going forward? And if you want to get even more updates on Justice League and the future of the DCEU, be sure to subscribe to Hybrid Network. Thanks again for watching this video, and if you want to get even more social media updates from us on all the things that we're up to, be sure to check out the links down in the description box below and our website for the latest breaking news. And if you want to see our content improve, consider donating to us on Patreon.